Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So we got to talk about the 2028 election in today's video. And yesterday we got this statement from former Vice President and failed 2028 Democratic Party nominee for president Kamala Harris, who released a statement about her political future. And what does this exactly mean? Because a lot of people were saying they're going to cut a deal with her because she's leading the polls for 2028 for some reason or another. And she is being pushed to run for governor. And then you had conflicting reports saying she might run for president. You still have party insiders that support her, and they believe that she was dealt a bad hand. They say she didn't have enough time. Yeah, time was the problem. She would have lost no matter what happened. The honeymoon period was fake. Vibes only can last for so long, and that we know. And it was just not really a very, very great period for her because she just kept getting exposed on the daily. She was put on defense. Trump ran a solid campaign. He basically ran the same campaign he was running against Biden, and it was more than enough to win the popular vote. First Republican to do that in 20 years, win every swing state, win the tipping point state by six figures. It was not particularly a razor-thin election like 2016 or 2020. So regardless of however you want to look at this, Kamala Harris was not a good candidate and nothing to do with time. And now she releases a statement saying over the past 6 months, ever since she lost, by the way, largest electoral college defeat for a Democrat since the 1980s, I've spent time reflecting on this moment in our nation's history and the best way for me to continue fighting for the American people and advancing the values and ideals I hold dear, which she flip-flopped on all of them, but that's besides the point. And then she goes to say, I'm a devout public servant. From the earliest days of my career, I believe that the best way I can make a difference is to improve the system from within, talks about what she's done, what position she's held. And then she said that in recent months, she has given serious thought to asking the people of California for the privilege to serve as their governor. And she said that she loves the state, its people, its promise, it's my home. But after deep reflection, I've decided I will not run for governor. And then she just goes on to talk about public service and then says, for now, my public leadership and service will not be in elected office. So when she says that, that means that at one point it will be. However, she is looking forward to getting back out and listening to the American people, helping elect Democrats across the nation who will fight fearlessly and sharing more details in the months ahead about her own plans. Okay, that probably means she'll be in Iowa or South Carolina or some of these early states doing events, campaigning for president. It's happening. The redux that nobody asked for is back on the table. Hillary Clinton at least was smart enough to realize that people didn't like her and that if she ran in 2020, she would have gotten her rear end kicked by Donald Trump by an even greater margin than the 2016 upset victory. But Kamala Harris, on the other hand, she's not getting the memo, partially because you have incompetent people. She's one of them. And you have incompetent people running the Democratic Party. The people that were on the fringes in the Obama years have grown up and have made their way into the power structures of the party. Meanwhile, the old guard, who was in charge during the Clinton years and even up to the Obama years and even recently, those people are retiring. They're dying out. It's a fact of life. It is what it is. And now you have the party. They're becoming increasingly incompetent because all the competent people of yesteryear are getting older. They're retiring. Regardless, they're gone. This is absolutely atrocious. The fact that it's basically all but confirmed she's running. It's crazy to think about. And Democrats, on the other hand, they have this weird attachment to her. And Hillary Clinton was not leading the early polls in 2017. I know we have a long way to go before 2028. But Joe Biden was leading the polls. He eventually became the nominee. And you're seeing Kamala Harris do the same. Doesn't mean she's going to be the nominee. But you saw polls with her in 43, 41, 37, 35, 33, 36, 36, 37, 33, 36, 25, 28, 28, 18. And you finally have the polls that were showing her down. I believe that they've all come from Atlas Intel, with the one exception from Emerson, which just has way too many undecideds in their poll for me to really take seriously. But even then, she's like neck and neck. And that's like with Gavin Newsom rising or whatever. But regardless, she's the front runner. Why not run if you're her? You know, you might lose again. You already lost. She probably will lose. We'll talk about why. But regardless, she's winning the primary polls. If she is not running for governor, she's running for president. They're probably going to have Katie Porter leading the Democrat ticket for governor. That's another gift for Republicans electorally, because she also is somebody just like Kamala Harris, who in my opinion is unlikable and would underperform. We have ways to go, but that is a crucial race in a way, because if Republicans can at least trim the margin of the Democrats down to like 15 in California, which I think is possible even in this upcoming midterm, they're going to have a very good shot to go out there and win, you know, enough House seats to hold the House. And then you have obviously the whole stuff going on with Texas and Ohio, and you get bonus seats there. But California is still important for sure. A lot of competitive seats. There's the most House seats in the country there, even though their map is more gerrymandered than the Texas proposal, which is basically made to fight back. But we've covered that in the past video. The main takeaway here is that Donald Trump's approval rating is roughly where it was, you know, pre-election, and that's with the response bias. It's kind of waning. You had the whole Epstein thing. It's kind of in the back burner. It's fading a bit. You'll hear it here and there, this whole, you know, DOJ type of deal. But Trump is still, you know, 46, 47% approval on a bad day. His first term, he never even got that high in terms of approval. And J.D. Vance, being the 2028 nominee, he would decimate Kamala Harris, first of all, in the debate stage, but also in the rhetorical game. And if things are going well, the economy's going well by then, which there's already signs that it's doing better now, well, you would have this, you know, possibility that Vance has the Vance slide against Kamala Harris. I don't think that she would be able to win. I really don't. She spent a ridiculous amount of money across the swing states to do worse in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania than any Democrat since the 1980s. Like, I don't really understand why people believe that Kamala Harris is like going to win after what we've seen over the past 6 months. They think that the country's going down the tubes. We heard a bunch of alarmism about tariffs, about all this stuff. We're not seeing it. We're not seeing it. Worst case you could say is, Trump stopped the bleeding. And at that point, it's a net neutral. So regardless, something would have to go very wrong for Kamala really to have a shot, in my opinion. You know, people will say maybe Vance doesn't turn out voters at the rate Trump did, but it's a presidential election. Everybody's showing up. Voters will be targeted. People will be turning out. You will see that happen. It will benefit the Republicans because the Democrats are unpopular, and Kamala Harris is increasingly unpopular. She was anointed last time. The fact that she'd be facing a primary, if she even got by the primary, she'd be bruised. You're going to have AOC in the mix. You know, Kamala may start off as the front runner, does not mean she's going to stay the front runner. I don't even think she'd be the nominee because I think she would lose the debates to Gavin Newsom, and I think Newsom would lose a general too. But her just taking votes away does make things interesting. Maybe you'll get a contested convention. Maybe the old guard that was competent enough to skew the primary for Biden back in 2020 and for Hillary in 2016, they're not going to be as competent and might allow a contested convention, which Kamala Harris would probably win at that point, unless they give it to like Newsom or Buttigieg or whoever. But still, not winning a general, especially now, because when you lose an election, especially if it's your first election, you're not going to win the next election, okay? Oh, but what about Nixon? What about Trump? Nixon did it 8 years later, and he was a prominent figure, and you saw the Democrats fracture completely, okay? It's not exactly a one-to-one. And on top of that, if you want to look at Trump or Grover Cleveland, they already served as president, so it kind of was like a, term versus term thing, and they both were able to win that convincingly. So it's not really a comparison. A lot of people understood 2020. Nobody had a fair shake in 2020 if you're an incumbent. Donald Trump especially did not, because the economy was down, but it wasn't his fault because of COVID. and a lot of things were going wrong. And then people saw Biden and they were like, yeah, Trump pre-COVID far better. That's why Trump had the upper hand there, of course. And obviously the election itself was a little sketchy, whereas 2024, Kamala Harris got decimated after 4 years in office. Do you think that people have nostalgia for the Biden days? There's no amount of Democrat gaslighting that is going to cause that, because at a minimum, the border is secured. At a minimum, some of the economic data is very positive. Inflation rate was much higher, and you didn't even have the tariff rates as high back then. And the inflation rate's pretty much, cooling. It's not like going down a whole lot as it stands, but wages are going up, which is a good thing. So on the surface level, but you'd have to go all the way back to the 1830s to find an election where somebody lost the previous election and it was their first election, who would be going up for another election and won. She'd be Adlai Stevenson, except a DEI candidate, as Joe Biden himself put it, as for why he made her VP. But again, if the Democrats are dumb enough to nominate her again, I think that, they'll lose and they deserve it and it'll be hilarious. And I think they're screwed in a lot of ways, but this would basically guarantee it. This is a text message from a Democrat account where they say Kamala is running for president, basically not running for governor. And then the reply says, President Kamala sounds so good. So if this is your average Democrat primary voter, then, and I'm not saying it is, but if it truly ends up being the case, then that's very good news for Republicans, and it's good news for Kamala Harris in the Democratic primary, but not for the general. And it's true. I mean, you talk about the candidates that will be able to kind of have the pull. I'm telling you what's going to happen. The more, establishment white Democrats are probably going to line up behind Buttigieg. Some will line up behind Harris. And if Kamala runs for president, she probably does well with the black women vote. Maybe Newsom gets more of the black male vote. And then like the far left people, they'll line up behind AOC. Everybody else gets frozen out. Kamala has a very good shot to be the nominee, and maybe she'd strike a deal with Newsom. I don't think that would work for the ticket purposes, because Newsom and Harris are both from California. But still, regardless, it's like, please run. I beg of you, Kamala Harris. It would be entertaining. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle out.